If you want to authentically be yourself in this space, you should start with somebody who will be authentic to you back. Because I
Hmm.
think authentically I can see that you want to make these things work, but also authentically I can see that you have barriers and you let these
Yeah.
barriers be malleable and pushable, but you don't let yourself just knock that wall down and create and create a whole new yard. You know what I mean?
What is going on, my friend? Thank you for joining me on another episode of What's Your One Thing? I'm your host, Jordan Hiller, and today's episode wasn't actually meant to be an episode. It was just a brainstorming session between myself and my friend Isaiah. See, we went to film school together back in 2014, and we just had such an amazing time. We had such good chemistry. He's an amazing actor, and we have just kind of drifted apart over the last 10, 11 years, and we've recently reconnected, and it's been amazing. He is going back to school to get his master's in fine arts, and I'm so excited for him in this next chapter and journey in his life that I thought he could help me get through this blip I'm having in mine. So, this is just an honest, raw, real conversation between two creative friends trying to get through some mental blocks. So, enjoy. There is some swearing, some interesting side quests, but you know what? We ultimately end up exactly where we should be. All right, I'm out. Enjoy the rest of this episode. Honestly, have no idea what we're gonna talk about. I'm having this creative funk, so I thought, who better to get rid of that block than you? I mean, we had so much fun in school and made so many fun projects together, and I thought we could maybe get bring back some of that energy, that teleportation chicken juice.
She wanted to have a discussion to try to get the creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
What do you feel like that looks like for you? Like, what does that entail? Do you want feedback on stuff? Do you just want just a conversation to spark some new stuff to create, or what?
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm having this shift in the podcast. So it's going away from this personal development, self-helpy, yada yada kind of BS, if I'm being honest. It's not BS, but it wasn't me. Yes, I love personal development. Yes, I love self-help is a it has a bad cloud around it, but I do
Right.
like
Yeah.
personal growth. I really do. But I'm tired of it. I've been listening and doing it for the last 4 or 5 years. It's so much just of the same stuff over and over, and it's just noise, and it hasn't
Right.
really been fun. And I've been making stuff, and I'll publish it, but I'm not going back and listening to it. And I love the fact that I was like giving listeners homework to do, like, hey, why don't you try working on this for a week? And I
Yeah.
wasn't doing I was such a hypocrite. Such a hypocrite.
Well, you know
man.
what, bro? It's good that you recognize that in yourself. There was a point in my life where I was doing the same thing. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change my fucking life, and I'm gonna take people with me. Um, but
Yes.
you know what, man? Like, it's good that you recognize that, especially if you're not necessarily putting it into practice. Doesn't mean that it might not hit somebody's ears who will apply it and
Yeah.
will use it. And also, not for nothing, you consuming that content and wanting to try to emulate it in your own way, it's a noble thing. Even if you may not, follow everything, with it. It's a noble thing. I think
Yeah.
maybe that could be a good start of where you want to take this. I don't know if you're trying to do like more skit material or if you're trying to do more like artsy stuff, but you're a storyteller, and maybe that's
Hmm.
why that didn't always translate, because you don't want to talk at people. You want people to feel something, but you want them to feel
Hmm.
it in a medium that you really are familiar with. And one of those mediums is telling a story through a lens, putting your eye on things and hopefully getting people to see the world the way that you see it. So that could be a way, is like, you still could create fun content where you can be funny, do the funny stuff that you want to do, and you can still have a good message in that resembles what
Hmm.
you were trying to do previously. If you want to stay on that route. I'm sorry that I'm talking so much. You go ahead.
No, no, no. Because as you were going through it, you are 100% correct. I love stories, and I think we both do. I keep falling back on I'd like to be an entertainer. I want to be an entertainer, but I want to be more than just that. I want to bring value because there's nothing more than I hate than just scrolling, and being sucked into a useless entertainment content. So
Yes.
if I can
Yeah.
get somebody sucked in 20 minutes later, they're like, okay, that wasn't a complete waste of time. Yeah, I got like a couple little nuggets
Yeah.
that I can feel like I want this to be the protein shake of information because it's condensed. We can get it's not quite the steak, but it's like you got some protein. Okay, yes, would Whole Foods be better? Yeah, but you still got that protein in. So that's really where I'm trying to get. So I really like the fact that where you're going with this because it hit me. I've been having all these conversations with all sorts of people. I've been getting in contact with more public speakers because I thought maybe that was the route I want to go. And one of the guys I was talking to, he said, What's your story? What story do you want to tell? Because right now it sounds like you're not quite sure what direction you want to be as a public speaker, and you kind of need to have that story. You have to have this backbone that you can fall back on, that you can stand on. And it really got me thinking. I'm like, okay, what story? And the more I sat and pondered on that question, I want all the stories. I don't want one story. And that's what I keep going back to is like, I have all of these things I want to talk about. I have all these stories. And when you even said skits, I kind of like the idea of skits, but I don't want it to be a skit show. I started going through some podcasts and I found one that was an improv group. And it basically, they were just going through and doing improv, but audio. And it was kind of funny. So I'm like, I could see doing, a handful of those. And that's where that idea for the, Diary of a CEO little clip came up because I'm like,
Yeah.
that would be fun.
I feel you on the aspect of wanting to tell a story, but I do think that, the other guy's right. Like, if you're going to want to amass an audience, there does have to be something that is you. That the guy that does, say, for instance, Diary of CEO, he's doing interviews, but his
Yeah.
thing is talking to people that have at one point or another like been at the top of something. He's giving people an
Yeah.
opportunity to tell their stories. So in a way, that's how you would get everybody's story. You know, if you want to be creative in that end, not
Mm.
necessarily that you want to do interviews, but maybe part of what you are doing with the self-help thing could be tied into that somehow. If you don't necessarily want to keep going down that route, then that's a really good
Mm.
question to ask. What do I want to say? Like, what necessarily is my story? So that might be a good spot for you to at least start. Is like reach inside of that toolbox and see, what what do I know how to do with these tools? And if you find that you need
Mm.
some more, maybe you can start. Maybe you can start there. But you're doing the right thing, man. I mean, you're already ahead of a lot of people in that regard. Is like, you know, like me, I had an idea and I kind of let it die because I was kind of waiting for right moments. I was waiting for another person to be ready to do, to make the content. I was waiting for equipment. I was waiting for shit, and you just started doing. So you're in the right mode. So I if I know that you don't want to necessarily make everything about self-help, but I wouldn't stop doing that. Like the fact that you still like to do
Yeah.
public speaking, that's a great place for you to at least find your footing with audience,
Yeah.
just to find out like that you can be in front of people, that you can do these presentations. If I were you, I wouldn't I know that I know you didn't say that you were looking to stop completely, but I would still use that as part of your story.
Well, okay, so then help me. Maybe let's kick this into a brainstorm session because I love that idea. Because again, I'm still in that realm, but what I am tired of is how saturated it is with the same character. So I don't know how familiar you are
Oh
with
yeah.
the space. So just when it comes to it, and even one of my favorite people, Ed Milet, great speaker, great guy, but just his content, it's just becoming to be the same thing over and over, and it's just like preaching, and it's very preachy. And I'm not perfect. I'm not a a billionaire. I haven't created all these companies. I'm not Tony Robbins. So I'm not all these people. And I think a lot of them start with these, hey, I built this, now I can teach you kind of mentality. But what I have done is I have lived a good chunk of early adulthood. And I've made plenty of mistakes and I've learned from them. And I am willing to sit in front of a camera and talk about those mistakes. So I think what would be a good crossroads is people still need personal development. People still need some voice when it comes in this space, but I think they could use a little bit of a more upbeat personality. Like there's just that doesn't feel like a preacher. That doesn't feel like you could throw in a couple of gods and Hail Marys and you're listening to a sermon. They don't need somebody that is, hey, I'm coming to you from my beachside property, and if you follow these 5 steps, you can live a life just like me. I am your little brother. My joke is I turned 30 and I finally look old enough to play a high schooler on TV. Like I have this little bro. I'm not the girl next door. I'm the little brother next door. So I've got
Hmm.
this thing that I can kind of use to my advantage. That I'm very what's the way I'm trying to think? I'm not intimidating. Like some people can listen to a public speaker, and I'll keep going back to Ed Milet. He's a big guy, big, tall, big presence. It can be a little intimidating. I'm approachable, and I think I could use that in both ways, in personal development, but also be fun. Like, how can we just have fun with this? I want somebody to put it on at the gym and almost need to turn it off because they're laughing in the background too much to do weights, and that's like the barometer I'm trying to get to. I want to be entertaining, but also have them pull out their phone, pause, write a note down, clip that little bit, like, oh, that, you know, it was 12 minutes of fun, 30 seconds of a good, solid little tidbit. And you're going to go away with that. And that I'm totally cool with. So, what would be a good format? I kind of like the sketch idea because there's a lot of potential there where you can keep people hooked, you can get people interested, yet have a storyline and a point. For
Hmm.
example, I was having the conversation with somebody who is part of this festival here. I'm doing a little segment on, and I had this little story about how my dad was really good with his hands, and I always made the joke about how I would rather ask the tools how they're feeling than actually know how to use them. And as I was editing that, I'm like, this would make for a really good bit. And I was editing in my kitchen, threw on an outfit, took 10 minutes, shot both of those inserts, and then put it into the podcast. And even if nobody finds that as funny as I do, I enjoy doing that. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole point of this is I keep jumping back and forth between wanting to create something for others, but also being happy with the product myself. Because I think the first 40 some episodes of the show were me trying to bring value to others, but leaving a piece of me behind. It
Yeah.
was me trying really hard to be so many things for so many other people. There was no Jordan. I mean, there was, but it wasn't authentic. So I've got this book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. It's by Rick Rubin. It's the one right in front of me. I just picked it up.
Hmm.
But I think there's a really good quote right at the opening line. It was, the object isn't to make art. It's to be in the wonderful state which makes art inevitable.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like you want to be of service to people, but you also want what you're doing to serve you back. And I think that's noble, but you shouldn't try to create anything for people. Of course, you want to have an audience. If you want to do this type of stuff, I would say that it would serve you a lot better to know who you are and to be comfortable with being that on the
Mm-hmm.
camera. I think part of that you've been putting yourself out there, but it sounds like a part of you, like a subtle part of you, is a little bit worried about trying to be not to convince people that you are perfect, but you're trying to be too perfect about what you're trying to do instead of just
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course you're going to need feedback. It's going to help you to know what you can work on. But I do hear it in your explanation of what you want. I do hear and I see that part of you that you're leaving behind to, in lieu of trying to get people to lock in and you be like the next person. And the other part of it is you started off by subtly comparing yourself to other people, telling yourself out loud that I'm not Tony Robbins, I'm not this person, I'm not that person.
Mm-hmm.
For one, you don't need
Mm-hmm.
to be. Two, don't put yourself down too far because none of the people that you named were good at the very beginning of whatever they got into. They got into it because it spoke to them and they realized, hey, if I keep listening to this and keep applying this to my life, so that's going to make my life a lot better. They ended up making it so better that they were able to go off and teach more people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like half of that is like making content that makes it fun for you, but also fun for the listener. That's what you want. I only say that because one, you're a dear friend of mine. Two, I want to be honest with you about what I'm seeing right now. If you want to authentically be yourself in this space, you should start with somebody who will be authentic to you back. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think authentically I can see that you want to make these things work, but also authentically I can see that you still have like a not a wall built up, but you have barriers. and you let these
Yeah.
barriers be malleable and pushable, but you don't let yourself just knock that wall down and create a whole new yard. You know what I mean? So, and I want you to do that. I want you to tend to that garden because I hear and see a lot of, I don't know, a potential in what you're searching for. Because I, I watch a lot of fucking YouTube now. Hardly watch TV, and my favorite creators really aren't the ones that have multi-million subs and all these extra cameras and extra scripting and stuff. The ones that got bigger, to me, they're starting to fall flat because they're becoming more and more unrelatable. I like that their content quality is getting better, but the quality in who they've become is starting to slip because now they have a lot of money and now they're trying to, like you said, they're getting into a space that's big, but everybody sounds the fucking same. And
Mm-hmm.
and the people that are just starting off that still have a few 100,000 and they're still hungry, they're just doing it. They're doing it any way that they can. I see what you're getting at and I hear what you want to do. And to me personally, I think that as a fan of yours and as a friend of yours and as somebody that wants to just keep it real with you, I could see the potential of that happening for you with all that you've created so far and what you want to move to and do. I'm sorry that I'm speaking so much, man.
No, don't, and then don't feel bad for rambling. I was cheesing the whole time because you said so many good things, and I'm so happy we're recording this conversation. You made a reference to the wall, like I've got this mental block, but you made this reference that I'd never heard anywhere else, and it's so true. You said your wall, you keep moving it like it's malleable, but you haven't been able to knock it down. And I'm like, holy shit. I had this like I felt that in my body. I could feel that in my brain because I'm like, you're right. I keep thinking, yeah, I'm gonna knock this barrier over, and all I'm doing is it's on wheels, man, and I'm just pushing it. Or
Yeah.
I'm running into it and I pictured literally I'm in my kid's room right now and I pictured these jelly blocks. Like the wall is built out of these jelly blocks, so
Oh
it's
wow, yeah.
malleable. You literally said. So this is the barrier in my brain right now is these fucking jelly blocks.
Yeah.
And dude, you are so right. I'll use my father had this phrase called it footing around. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
bleep that out. This whole video
Yeah.
is just gonna be a beep 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 beep. But
Yeah.
yeah, I keep footing around this thing. And I gotta figure out how to knock this goddamn wall
Yeah.
over. And I
But you're
think
still and oh sorry, can
Mhm.
I not swear on this? Can I
No, you
swear on
can.
that?
You're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can swear.
Um, I only say all that because that's exactly what I've been doing.
Mhm.
I kicked myself out of my comfort zone so much that I have no choice anymore but to knock the barrier down, or I'm not going to succeed. I got myself
Mhm.
into school by telling people out loud, I'm going to audition. I haven't acted in a while, but I've been telling everybody and their mother that I'm going to
Mhm.
go audition. And two, the auditions are coming up, so I have to do it. I did it, man, and I got in, and now I'm locked in. There is no, I can't get cold feet. Dude, I'm
Mhm.
hardly fucking ready. Like, I gotta be
Yeah.
honest with you, I'm
Mhm.
scared as hell. But I have no choice. Now I have
Yeah.
no choice. But I say all that to say I'm glad that I kind of put myself in that position because
Mhm.
there's no choice now but to break the wall down. Even if it's on
Mhm.
wheels, even if I'm on ice skates, I have to do it. Otherwise, everything that I've been doing will, feel like it's been like for what? But
Mhm.
also because I tell you this because like I had to have this conversation with myself to myself. It's weird. I know. So I have to look in the mirror and say like, listen, bro, you have to just go for it. You can't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about if you're doing what other people are doing because people will tell you. People will let you know, like, hey, man, I've kind of seen this done already. You're doing the right thing, bro. You're doing the right thing. Just keep it, at least keep creating. At least keep
Mhm.
creating. Don't stop creating. Don't stop putting it out there because when you do that and you look back, then you're going to start to be able to see, like, oh, okay, this was a little bit bland for me, or you might think like, oh, maybe I should have said something this way. Like, keep creating, man. You're doing the right thing. I just think you're comparing yourself too much, bro.
Mhm. I appreciate you, man. I really do. And you, honestly, one of the funniest people I know, one of the best people I know. I wish we would get some more time together, but I'm super excited for your journey, and I am I've always been a fan. I mean, I'm surprised it's taken you this long to get back into it, to be quite honest.
Me too.
Uh, I
I had a
I I I know you
really
I know
shaky
you had
couple years.
but you pulled yourself out of the hole, and you did. You pulled yourself out, and I admire you for that. I'm a little jealous. I am. I'll be a tad bit honest with you.
Well,
I'm
listen,
like, you're
bro. Like
doing. Yeah.
we should definitely keep these conversations going. But yeah, man. Don't talk like we're not going to create together. We are going to make some. We are going to have to.
It's
We're going to have to
no,
get the band
we
back together and make some shit, bro.
we're ge- we're getting the band. No, I'm so excited. Let's get. Okay, I'm holding your feet to the fire, just like you were telling people you're doing
Dude,
auditions. We're getting the
dude.
band back
Yes,
together. We're gonna
yes.
create. We're gonna get you ready for the big move. When do you take off?
I take off August 1st.
August 1st. Okay, that's coming up. Okay. All right. Well, you've always got somebody in your corner. You need to run some lines, give me a call. I'm always there for you, buddy. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. And if you ever just you ever just want to call and just talk, shoot the shit, you can record it or not record it. Like, let me know, man. I'm always down.
uh,
I'm always down.
I know. Well, I'll leave you on one since I'll tie in the personal development, and this is my own thing. So I have my own framework, and I actually write it on the top of my journal most days. It's called the OAK framework. So it's OAK. It's an acronym for the only, asymmetric, and kooky. And what it stands for is be the only one. What are you doing that you're the only person doing it? So don't be vanilla, don't be like everybody else. So what can you do that you're the only one that can do it? ACE stands for asymmetric. Where do you have asymmetric upside? So it's like 80-20 principle.
Mm.
Do things that you have an asymmetric upside in doing. Yours is clearly acting. You are so talented. So you are leaning into your asymmetric ability. So you are far and above and beyond most people. So lean into that. And then K is for kooky, man. Be a little weird. Which I think we've got that in spades, so I think we're fine. We don't
Dude,
need to get that reminder.
my
But
friend once told me that like crazy is but one half of genius. I don't know if he took
Mhm.
that from somebody, but that has always stuck in my mind. And I'm like, yeah,
I love
like
it.
yeah, you have to be a little delusional
Mhm.
to think that something's going to happen the way that you want it to happen. If
Mhm.
you stay delusional but stay diligent about the work, then something might happen. And I'm not just talking for people that are in the arts or whatever. I'm just saying in general, like everything around us was once just a thought, and somebody was crazy enough to go, you know what? If I do mix this dust with this water, it will make something that's going to hold up. And boom, we
Mhm.
got fucking, brick and mortar houses and shit. Like
Yeah.
at one point, everything and everyone around us was but a thought. And
Mhm.
they're here. Like that's enough to tell you that like you can make whatever the fuck you want to have happen happen.
Yeah.
You just have to be crazy enough to do it.
You
And you
gotta
have to
you
be
gotta break through those jelly walls, my friends.
yeah,
All right.
dude.
I
That's what you should
to
call this
be
recording. Jelly walls.
this is gonna be jolly. I'm so psyched about this. I actually want to this. I'm gonna make this a tattoo now. I'm gonna get a jelly wall tattoo. That's like yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna carry this in my pocket now. This is my reminder. This is my Isaiah. Break your mental barriers, your little jelly wall barriers. All right, my
Yeah.
friend. I've got to
All
go.
right, man.
It's been amazing, and I've got to go do some face painting now with my lovely ladies that were so patiently, and they only interrupted us twice. So that's a new record.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Hey,
my
man.
friend. Let's
I
do
love you,
this
bro.
again.
It was good to see you.
I love you too, man. Well, let's try to do this. Let's make it a weekly thing, maybe even. We'll get
For
together
sure.
and just like even if it's like 10 minutes, little powwows.
That'd be great. That'd be
All right.
great, man.
All
All
right.
right, man.
Next
I'll
week
see you, bro.
next week I'll be your therapist and we work through your problems.
Okay, sounds good. All right, man. See you.
All right, peace.
Peace.
You can can you hear you can't hear that?
Yeah, I can
No,
hear.
oh, okay, yes. You can't face paint your sister right now. Not while I'm not watching.
I'm sorry that I'm speaking so much, man. I'm tired, and so.
Well, all right, we'll bleep that we'll bleep that out.
Oh yeah, I forgot we're recording. Oh no! Oh no, it's over. This isn't live, is it?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
but this is